Hello guys and welcome to the second part of my world tour. So in the first part I showed only this area, my base basically, and tried to explain a bit about the history of this place. But in the second part I want to show the rest of the world. So I'll start by going in this direction because otherwise I'll probably forget about it. It's not the most important place. Just some flower farms. There's a village here. And over here there's this flower forest biome. That is quite beautiful actually. If you look here, there are some caves. There is this that is almost a cylinder. It's quite a beautiful place. And here I have some flower farms. So in total I have 3 flower farms in this world. And that's because with those 3 I can get all the flowers. I don't know if there is any bone meal. Probably not. Let me just... And now, that's how it works. It's designed by Mango, and it's quite fast. There's not that many flowers here, as I get a lot of just to make dyes or to decoration as well. But yes, you can see that, for example, the white tulip. There's probably just 1 or 2 spots that it can spawn here. I had to analyze this entire biome, bone milling some parts, and yes, here you can see white tulip. There's another one there, just a few spots. That's why I only have some. But yeah, and you get the idea here. And then over here, there's the other flower farm. And here not even sure what I get. Yes, but cornflowers, oxeye daisies, lily of the valleys, pink tulips, and here is probably the white tulip as well. Oh, didn't remember that. Yes, pink tulips I only get a few per hour as well. So, but if I go in this direction, and the flower farm is right there. There's a swamp over here, but there is actually a swamp very close to that, but I only noticed it these days. And those flower farms I made probably a year and a half ago. And here I have the last one that is partially on a swamp and partially on a plains, which is the perfect location as I can get the other variant. So here you can see I got blue orchids, dandelions, cornflower again, azure blue, and oxeye daisies again. So yes, those are all the flower farms. So now let's go to the industrial area. If I fly over here, it's very close, just over this mountain, and you can already see the first farm. So this is a snow farm, a automatic one, fully automatic. So there's a TNT duper right here, and iron guns are pushed forward, and because of leash they get back quite fast. And the TNT is dispensed in the middle, breaks, there's no layers, dropping snowballs. It's a really expensive farm. If you look underneath here, you'll see there are a lot of hopper mine carts. I don't even know why there are so many. For example, here in the middle, doesn't make a lot of sense. But there are many hopper mine carts, a lot of hoppers, a lot of droppers, a lot of observers. So yeah, it's not an early game farm, and I just used it on only once. So if you look here, you see that yes, I already got all these blocks by filling this wall. There's a shulker box that I used there, the villager trading city mostly, but it is useful. It's better than getting with a shovel. So the switch is right here. So if I turn it on, you'll see how it goes, and that very soon start to get a lot of snowballs. If I stay here, you see that my inventory will fill up very quickly. You can really get a lot a lot of snow blocks this way. That's already filled. But right behind here, there's this spruce tree that I used to get some leaves. And here we have the industrial area. So I showed this before with only the cobblestone generator that wasn't even used at that point. But now I use it a lot, and there are some things more here. But as it was the first thing I had, I started by showing it. So this is a cobblestone generator, as I said before, designed by Ulmango. And then I added a few things. So here I have 100 furnaces. There are some item filters, but that's not because they are income of any other items. It's just so I can limit the amount of items on each hopper, making so that I reach the maximum speed faster. It's not really necessary, but without those it would take a really long time, because instead of actually just filling up to 64 here, you would need to get 5 stacks to move to the next hopper, and that would be way more time consuming. And then I have some switches. So this one, this block turned on, this ice goes up, and this block goes down, and all the items are redirected to here and in the bubble column and on this item filters. And by activating this switch, you only get cobblestone. If I activate this one, it should, let me see, because a bit weird. Yes, here it is. I get some lines, a torch, and what does this torch do? Okay, there's a piston. So it opens up, and all the stone will fall down to the level below, so I'll get smooth stone. They're the same thing, 100 furnaces, but this layer takes basically 3 times longer to reach maximum speed than the stone one, as I have an input of 120,000 cobblestone here, and then the input for here is 36,000 stone, so it takes way longer to reach the maximum speed. But I only used it once, reached the maximum speed, AFK'd for a bit more, and filled the chest basically. But over here, the redstone line goes this direction, and this repeater is activated, and when you activate the farm, this piston will go down, the signal will travel here, and this piston will stick to the wall, and the observer will detect it, and will activate this layer. And if both switches are off, I'll get stone. That's pretty much it. If you look here, this is empty. I never FK'd after I made this sorting system, and here you can see this move stone. I have a launcher, but there's a lot of stone here that I got previously, because this sorting system with the 3 types I only did once I upgraded the farm to the smooth stone, and that took me quite a long time to do. But yes, I can even turn the farm on. Let's just put the smooth stone, so you can see the entire process basically. There's no point in showing just cobblestone, it's just pretty simple. But here, see, the stone is pushed right in the moment that the TNT explodes, so the blocks have 0 blast resistance, so you get a lot of cobblestone. And then here, all the cobblestone gets on this water stream, get into the hoppers, and here you can see what I said. So already going to this furnace without having filled this one. There are some items in the hoppers, but that's because I used it before. And here I just had to add a bit of logic, write some logic. This layer is quite messy because those carpet dupers, I used a different design before and it was directional, and then I got to this one that is not directional, but I could have made it a bit plainer, like this lower level, but I didn't. But the logic that I'm talking about is this one here. So there's this comparator that sees if the furnace needs carpets, and then the dupers will be on. But when the farm is on, the dupers will always be on. So I don't stay out of view. But when the farm turns off, the dupers will stay on until all the hoppers are filled. And down here you can see the stone coming and falling down, going to the lower level, and you can see the difference here. I only get stone up to here, not even this furnace is on. Yes, as you can see. And here, and you see the difference is clear on the speed, the amount of time it needs to reach the maximum speed. As this furnace above here, it's not the maximum speed as well, so yes, it takes way longer. But yes, I think that's enough. So I have a few backups in which this farm is in a bit different state, but I'll show those ones after I show the rest of the industrial area. So this is my tree farm, designed by Mango as well. The universal tree farm for 1.15 and higher versions, and it is quite efficient. There are some that are way more compacted, actually as efficient or even more, but I found none of these designs when I was building this farm, just after I would build it, way after actually. Yes, this blast chamber, it was already on the older version that it was for 1.11 that I told to the first part of the tour. I'll show that one. I found a backup in which it exists. But here is a blast chamber that was designed for 1.12. I made some modifications in order for it to work again, and it actually works quite nicely. But here, just to see the farm working, let me just grab some saplings. Let's go for spruce tree, actually acacia, as it will be the most different, as the logs that spawn on the sides will go through this direction. They are very rare, the ones that go, as you can see, there's this high there. There are no logs all the way up to here, even though I have a lot of wood down here. If you look, I have a lot of acacia. But here is the on switch of the farm, and then the farm will get all the logs in place and send them to the blast chamber. So it's pretty simple. So now that I've showed the tree farm, there's actually another one right behind here. This one is not by Mango, it's a dark oak tree farm by Fast Jazz. It's quite a good design. I think it produces 10,000 dark oak logs per hour, so that's actually really good rate, and you get actually more saplings back. And it is quite simple. As you can see, there's just a bit of wiring down below, some TNT dupers, and yeah, that's pretty much it. You just AFK here, and the on switch I think is the strap door. I'm not sure. Yes, it's probably the strap door. It has been I just used this farm once, and it was a really long time ago. Let me just try this out. Yes, it is. So then I would stay here with some saplings. Let me get some here, and there is a really smart tree detection system here. Let me just turn the volume a bit down, and here you can see there is a leaf, and as the distance is now 7, when a log grows here, it'll go to 1, and the observer will detect, and the TNT dupers will activate. So that's really smart. That's something really smart here. Why there's minecart. I don't know what's going on. But then you just place the saplings, and here you can see the TNT dupers will activate. And the tree is gone. And the dirt blocks will be pushed up. Oh, the minecart was actually in here. Don't know what happened. Yes, this is the farm. Really good design in my opinion, and quite efficient as well. So over here, there is this nether sprout. I'm not sure what the name is. All the nether fungus, roots, all that stuff. Designed by Mango as well. You can switch from Crimson Nylon to the Warped Nylon. And down here there's a dispenser, a dispenser, and here put the bone. I already AFK there. Used it a couple of times, so I have still some armored fungus here, and a lot of warped roots and crimson roots as well. Right here there is a map. As you can see, it looks a bit weird because the actual orientation would be like that. If you turn it around, it doesn't seem really right, the position, but yes, that's how it is. Because then if I'm looking to the map, the stone farm is this right here, the tree farm is this one, Raku tree farm, the nether root and fungus farm is right here. Here's the concrete farm, sheep farm, sugarcane farm, and yeah, that's basically it. And here I would get my snow before I had the automatic one. So there should be a shovel here. And yes, that's pretty much it. So moving on, I already from the map I told all the farms here. Oh, actually that's something that I'm not sure if it was missing in the map. Oh yes, I'll go there in a moment. Here is my concrete farm. So it's designed by me. There's some improvements that could be made in the wiring here that I did while playing in a world with a friend, but I never actually done it here. But yes, never actually built it here. It's not perfect. There are better designs. A video released by Mango some time ago, long after I built this farm. I actually have some pretty amazing one, but I have a macro here, and my objective was to make a farm that was able to deal with the income, the concrete income that I could that could handle my macro. So here you can see it's quite fast. As I said, there are some improvements, but if you look at the side of the screen, you'll see that once the pistons push the blocks, there's immediately a block that goes up. So you'll see that it is quite precise, and yes, it is quite efficient. Not sure about how much concrete you can get in an hour, but there is a huge problem here. That is that I need 2 droppers, but I don't use the 18,000 items, so it's slower than that. And this makes so that even though I have 2 chests, and this makes that I can only use a collar per time, otherwise I won't reach maximum efficiency. But yes, this is it for the concrete farm. Here I have my sheep farm, and it's been running for some time. It's a bit more recent than the other ones. Not sure, it's probably the most recent farm here. But here I have the store for the shears, and below I have all the sheep, so there are in total 48 sheep. I think it's 3 of each color. Yes, that would be it. 3 of each color, so there are 24 here and 24 beneath. The system here is quite simple. You just detect when they eat the grass, and then send a signal to this piston that pushes another block in, and here are just 0 ticks. And then you just add a lot of grass to increase the chance of the dirt converting to grass. And with all this grass, it's pretty much impossible for a dirt block to get in here. And as sometimes the sheep can eat the grass too fast that the observer won't be able to detect. Yes, here you see, it might happen. No, we didn't. There is a timer here that will activate the piston that will activate that piston, so I don't need to wait until the dirt block, the grass grows into this dirt block. As you can see, it's now a dirt block here, a bit hard, but you can see. And then, in order for it to move around, this dirt block would need to grow into a grass one, and this takes a while. So I just have a timer that should be activated very soon. Let's just wait. And then activate it. And now the farm should go again. Yes, as you can see, it isn't working. And it will just get up here and to the sorters. Over here there is the nether fungus tree farm. I'm not sure about who designed this, but I'll link in the description as well. I already got a few items. I wanted to get mostly shroomlight, but yes, I didn't have that many. It is not that efficient to get shroomlight, but I didn't even use. Just wanted to have because I think it's quite a nice block. So I have a lot of those blocks, a lot of logs as well. So it's all filled here. And yes, it's a bit annoying to use this farm because you need to get the fungus separately, so it takes a bit more time. Yes, there is some bone meal. Let me see. Let me grab some hard fungus. And the way it works is on a timer. It activates those dupers and explodes those parts here. The pistons push it over and it explodes. It's not perfect, you lose some items in the process, and you didn't get all the blocks from the trees, but it worked. I'm thinking of making another farm, but yes, not sure about that right now. So here is the on switch. Oh, of course I cannot use this one because of the item. Now, yes, as you can see, the trees grow quite fast, and this dropper should dispense me other ones if there was any in the system. Yes, you can see it works. And the items just drop down and go to the sorter. So over here is the last farm. It is a sugarcane one. I designed it as well. It's not perfect. For example, this side worked properly, so you see that the piston activates 3 times. The land block activates 3 times, but on this side no, I don't know. I'm confused now. Really am. I was testing this other day, and it wasn't working this way. Yes, you can see this one. I don't know why. Should be the same thing, right? Yeah, as you see, it's the same thing as this one, but this one activates 3 times. This one only 2. Not sure why, but that's how it is. There are some sugarcane that stays on the grass and the dirt, but yes, it's a bit rare, and it's enough for my needs. As you can see, it's all filled up. So here is the portal that I got. My base is just over there, as I showed before. But before I move on to the next area, I'll just go through some older backup. So I found the backup, the world that I planned, the stone farm. You can see I was trying some things out with C-pick alignment. The way it works, because it is a bit directional. If you use 3, I think, you put 3. One side might work and the other one may not. Let me just try it out, as I don't know. Let's see here. Yes, it all works, I'm not sure. But here you can see the design that I built. The carpet dupers are completely different. That's why I had to, it starts to get a bit messy. The design didn't actually work anymore. But you can see that's pretty much the same thing. The redstone wiring is the same. Just the hopper minecarts that I was using to collect, I now use droppers to send the items into a water stream, which is much better than the hopper minecarts. That's pretty much it. So here's another backup. This is really old. Just when it was made just when I finished building the tree farm, the old one. And you can see there's only the cobblestone generator here. I was probably made this backup to test it out, as it is very easy for it to break. If something is wrong, it will break. You can see the old design. It looks a bit smaller than the current one. Yes, it doesn't work anymore, so I'm not even going to try to use it, as it'll only break. You can see from the inside, it looks quite different, and it's a bit less efficient than the current design that I'm using. Something here, I didn't have any sorting for these logs, so I just put them in chests. I only start to sort them out once I change the tree farm. Yeah, there's only one more backup, so I'll go to this one right now. So here's the last backup that I have to show. You can see this one I made when I finished building the new farm, and that's for the same reason as the other backup I showed, as these farms break quite easily. Here you can see that the stone farm, I still had only the stone layer, and you can see there was no nether fungus tree farm. I was doing some tests. The sheep, I already got the sheep to build the farm, that I moved from the old farm right back in the base. I brought them to here. So I'm looking here, I'm not sure, those command blocks, because those might help. I just need to know where to place them. Okay, but let's try it out, see if the farm is actually working or not. Okay, there's a block here. Let's see. Yes, it is working. Okay. Now I get it. I added it to place a sapling for me. It's not in the design. It can be a bit faster than that, though. No, now it broke. Not sure why. Probably because it's sapling. Treat this. Nice. It's now broke. I was trying to show it, but it didn't end well. But that's it, so let's move on to the next area. So now that I've showed all the backups, I won't be going through the nether. I'll go to the nether very soon, but I need to show that area, and I think it's better to do it by the overworld, as it'll give a better perspective of the position of things inside the world, and you can see it's very close. My base is just there, that direction. The industrial area is right there, and here is the villager trading city. So as you can see, it's almost done. There's a tower missing, but I have bigger plans for this place. So let me stop using the Elytra. I started building that mountain over there. So if you look at this mountain, you can see that it is not that tall. It's a bit taller than this building, but this is one of the shortest. So, but I have big plans for here. My original plan was to make a mountain surrounding it all, to make it a isolated place and fill the ground with trees. I only placed those while I was building when I built this first tower, the central one. But I think I'll do this. So there's still a lot of work to be done here. And there are no villagers on the tower apart from this one that I got all the villagers I had in the temple back in my base. But as I've explained a bit here, let's go by the order I build the buildings, as usual. So, this one here, is a bit of a deposit for the stuff I'm using. I use to build the towers. So if you look here, you see that there's a big variety of things. Some that I didn't use anymore, like terracotta. Some shulker boxes that are quite empty. But this building is the central one, and I can have many villagers here. I'm not sure about the number. But this was the first one I built, and you can see here there's this crystal in the middle. My brother said it looks like Sims crystal, but that it was meant to be a emerald. And here you can see I have all the villagers. I have all the enchantments that I can buy for a emerald. So I added those signs. I think there is one here without a sign, but I'm not sure. And then you can look here. I'll just go through a bit slower, so you can, if you want to pause and read the signs, you can. I don't think there is much of a point in doing so. And then there are many farms if you look up, but only 3 have villagers, and the third one is quite empty. There are only 2. Here there's this balcony that I added just to give a bit of texture to the building, as this wall was completely empty, and I think it looks nice. Maybe I added way too many leaves, but that's something that I'm not sure of. But here you can see I have all the other villagers. I have the armorer, the toolsmith. Yes, this one does not have a sign, but it sells Luck of the Sea. And yes, that's it. That's it. This one sells thorns. And there are some that don't sell one paper for a emerald. For the same reason I explained the clerics in my base weren't selling a root flesh for emerald. But I think those are in the first one. So getting these villagers here was a lot of work, as they were all in my base, and I had to get all the enchantments before I transported them to here. I had to cure them until they were all selling all the enchantments for an emerald. Yes, I think it was worth it. At least I took a lot of lag from my base, but this place just keeps getting laggier and laggier. And here you can see the ladder worker that I said I bought some boots for the boot shop. And here the weaponsmith. And then there are 2 more floors, and the last 2 are empty, just because I was too lazy to make the actual place for the villagers. I had to change it, so you can see that the villagers have glass panes, but yes, I was using the pathfinding of them so they would stay in the spot by placing a torch. It could be a string as well, but it doesn't work anymore. So if I grab a villager, place him here, he will move at some point. Yes, you see. But before 1.16, I think, this was not the case, and they would stay there, so there was no need for those glass panes. So the second building I did here was this tower, I think. I didn't think it was a portal one. Pretty sure it was this one. And yes, here it's empty because here is where I'll put all the crop farms. So this side will be melon, pumpkin, and this one all the other crops. So it'll be wheat, beetroot, carrots, and potatoes. And I've already calculated the height and the size of the building, considering that those farms will need to fit here, so they should fit perfectly. Just a detail here, if you look at this base, I'm using a gradient here with cobblestone and then andesite, terracotta and orange terracotta, and then I changed it. The first 3 towers, those 3, I actually used this palette, but then I figured out it wasn't that good, and when building the other build, those buildings there, I ended up changing the base of those 2, and I think when I build the last one, I'll change the base of this tower as well. Try to make it a little bit, and try to make it a little bit less flat. The third tower that I built was Portal Tower and the Villager Breeder as well. Let me just take it out of here and just throw it here. So if I go up, you'll see that this is the area of my breeder, and there are a few interesting things here. For example, if I press this button, that lava will activate, and now it will deactivate. If I press this button, you'll see that the zombie will come down. Yes, here it is. And then to send him up, you just need some rails. That bubble elevator is for the zombie, it's not for the player. But you can go there, it's just very tricky to get out. Now, he's there, he's already in position. And then you can request it again. The ceiling will open and he'll fall down in the rail, taking no fall damage. And you can just send him up. And if I go fast enough, you'll see what happens. He just fires over here, goes through the strip wire, and the piston activates, shooting him on this block, and he will stay there until I activate the button. When I press the button, this redstone block will move, activating this line, and there will be those repeaters to the timings of the times to remove this block and place it again, and will activate this piston to send the zombie. Up here there's a breeder. It's not perfect. The sorting system of the babies, there's a better one that I discovered later, and the discovered version is not working because of the carpets and the beds. If they sleep, they'll be in the bed and not in the right spot. Down here, the shock box that I showed, it's now filled with weakness potions, and that's a potion brewer that I built. So if we go down here, see, it's not compact. I designed it, so that's basically why it's so big. It's not really optimal, but it theoretically could brew any potions with 2 ingredients. So here I have the fermented spider eyes, and here the gunpowder, yes, in this hopper. So when I activate, minecart will go through. So let me just activate to show how it works. I just threw choker boxes. Choke box will be dispensed here. The minecart will then go off with 9 items. There's 9. Then it'll go. The bottles will be refilled. Will be filled automatically when the chest is filled. The dispenser will stop. Let's see, and yes. Oh, it's actually the hopper. Yes, it is perfect. No bottle to stay here. And then the potion should be brewed this time. Should be nearly ready. And then there is a clock that sends this hopper minecart to collect all the potions. And then they'll be loaded into the shulker box, as you can see here. And when the shulker box is filled, it'll break, and it'll be dispensed right here. But as there was another one, it should be here, yes. So it's not really compact, but it works, and I'm fine with that. And it is fast. This of course is to shoot the villagers, as getting weakness potions is a bit annoying manually. Moving on, the next building was the farmer's tower, and I think this tower looks great, looks amazing. I tried to make a bit different design, as all the other ones were cylindrical. And yes, this building is quite unique. I think it's amazing, because the shape is completely different from any of the other ones. It's not a regular shape, it's symmetrical but not regular. And I love it, mainly at night as well. So here you can see at night, and it looks amazing, at least in my opinion. Entire place actually. So you can see that I use a lot of end rods, and it all lights up, and only the buildings basically. There's nothing else. With shaders as well, it looks quite nice. So here it is with some shaders. This is complementary shaders. The reflections are pretty good of the shades, but my GPU goes up to 80 degrees, and that's a lot. So I can keep it up for too long. You can see the reflections, and I think it just looks amazing. I think you lose a bit. For example, it doesn't look the same, that building, and it's a bit brighter. But let me just set the time to today, so you can see it in a bit different state. And yes, I love using shaders here, because I think this place looks amazing. I got a little bit sidetracked, but yes, let's go back to this building. So this building is the place where I'll have my farmers and a storage for the items of the crop farms. So here I have the storage for the pumpkins, melons, melon blocks. I need to craft the melons into melon block, and here wheat, beetroot, carrot, and potatoes. And if I go up here, I end in this floor that has 22 spaces. I'll need 6 villagers that trade beetroot and wheat. 16 that trade carrots and potatoes, and all of them trade in melons and pumpkins. It will be a bit annoying to get that, but if I get it, according to my calculations, I should be able to trade constantly with them without even if I sleep. Just a detail here, the rest of the building is empty. That's my this one, the farmer villagers, the farmer tower, as well as the redstone one is empty. So the next one was actually the redstone building. So right here I have some villagers that trade glass, but that I'll have to send to the other building at some point. But here you can see that I've made it quite dark, and it was intentional. I really like the vibe of this building. The building is completely dark, so mobs can spawn here, but I didn't think this will be a problem once I have the clerics, as entities cannot spawn inside the other ones, and the brewing stand will be here. I think it emits a bit of light. It doesn't look as good with the brewing stand, but yes, there's not much I can do about that. But it was intentional, and I really like this room. I get a bit of a vibe of a Star Wars, like Death Star, a thing, or a cinema, I don't know, but I really enjoyed this place. But that's pretty much it for the tower. If you look up, you'll see that it's completely empty. It looks quite nice from the side as well. You have those little shapes of cyan concrete and red concrete, and from the outside the building has an interesting story, because if I go to the back, you'll see that there are a lot of those shapes. You can really see the shapes here, and that's because my plan was to make the entire building like that, but then I was planning it on creative, and then I just looked back, and then I just saw this part here that was incomplete, and I just think that it looks better than the entire building having those shapes. The roof, I kept doing these shapes, so the roof is quite weird shape. I ended up connecting to the mountain, but just when I built the glass tower. But I'm not sure about those leaves. I think I'll take them off at some point. But yeah, it's not finished there. But I went for a completely different approach on the base of the building. And the glass tower, same thing. The terrain is the same. They are connected. They are actually quite close to each other. But yes, I think this terrain, the way I did it here, it connects very well to the mountain with this waterfall. The shape basically inverts. So the middle there is the furthest point, and here the middle is the closest one. But yes, let me just go inside this building, as it is the last one. So this building is meant to have the librarians that sell glass. That's why it's made mostly out of glass. And here I have space for 36 librarians. There are 6 floors, and each I can have 6 librarians. They would stay on this block and the lectern in front of them. But I'm thinking about expanding it, as I would only get 2 shulker boxes of glass in 10 minutes, which is not that much. So if I double this, I would get 4, which is much better. This building, I don't know if it is my favorite, but I really like it. This view here is simply amazing. I just have the view to the mountain with the trees. And yes, I just love most of the views you have on this building are quite nice. And I'll just go through every floor, and this is the last one. And as you can see, the mountains are not that high, as I can pretty much see that the mountain is incomplete from here. And here you can see the roof of the building that is made out entirely of glass. And here is the reason why I used a really good part of the glass that I traded before updating to 1.15, because if you look here, there are a lot of layers of glass. And yes, I added so many that you can tell that it is made out of glass, and that was my intention. But I still think it looks quite nice, and I did this because then I would have 15 skylight level in every place. So if you look here, it's all 15 because it is glass above me. So it made this building brighter during the day. You can see that here it's not that bright because there are blocks on top. So just to finish with this area, let's move to the mountain to show it a bit closer. So you can see that I actually added a lot of detail with these snow layers here. I actually like to add details and things even though I might not even see them. But the trees are not that detailed, they are quite a simple design. They're not meant to be big, because then you have this, you have a perspective that the mountain is a bit bigger than it actually is. But I think that I could have done a bit better, like just getting the branches a bit to the side and making them of different shapes, pretty much like those ones over there, but a bit better and a bit bigger. And here you can see that I have this gradient that I wasn't always using. When I first built this mountain, I wasn't even using the snow on top, just these snow layers. And after I added this gradient with the snow, the mountain just looked much better. It's quite a subtle gradient. If you look here, it's a bit easier to spot, but over there, it's a bit harder to spot the difference from this area to that one. The mountain on the other side here, it's unfinished, as you can see. It's just empty. And here you can see the original terrain that was just way lower than this mountain. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this backup, so I'll just try to find some older ones to show how this place looked in some stages. So in this backup right here, you can see that things look quite different. I only had 3 towers, there was no mountain, and here you can see the base, those hills, how they looked before. You can see the orange terracotta and the terracotta with the gradient of cobblestone and the stone on both of the towers, that I then redesigned it to remove this terracotta as well as the gradient. I think this looks much better, and you can see that I tweaked the shape of this one a bit because it was too steep on this side if you look, and it just looks way too perfect for the tower. At this one I still have to rebuild this base, but that's probably something that I'll be doing once I build the last tower. You can see that in this backup I still had no librarians here. They were all still in my base on the temple. And you can see that there was no glass panes on those 2 blocks as well, as they would stay here. even though they could walk. But yes, this is the building entirely empty, and I had way less shulker boxes back in those days. So this backup right here, it's even older, and you can see the area without any towers, how it looked before. So you can probably tell why I chose this area, as it is a big area with no trees, pretty much no work should be done should it rain. And here you can see there was this village that was by the most part destroyed. There are only those houses over here, I think, as the towers, as for example the middle tower is about here, so the portal tower, it's around here, the crop farm tower is here, the farmer one's about here, the glass is probably here, and the redstone one would be here. Approximation of the location of the towers, but just to give you a better idea. This other backup, I have now the farmer tower and the redstone tower, and you can see how things looked before having the glass tower. So the redstone tower, the base was incomplete, as I was planning to have another one for the next one. You can see that once I built this tower, I changed the terrain of the main tower. Only those two were with this old design. And the mountain, you can see, look quite different without a gradient, and much worse in my opinion. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this backup. Let me just move on to another one. So this is the last backup I have, but I'm here. You can see that it is quite similar to another one that I showed, but I'm here because this one is the one that I started planning things out. So you can see that I've actually decided where the buildings would go, for example redstone, glass, and then quartz over here. And here is where I would paste the buildings from the build world into here, build a mountain, and then build it in survival. If you look here, you'll see that I had this little board here. So I had all the farms that I would have to build in the tower. There's actually missing Balloon Pumpkin. Here would be redstone tower. I have 72 clerics, and I would get 2 shulker boxes in 10 minutes. The quartz one, 72 as well, and I would get 1 shulker box of quartz in 10 minutes. The glass, 36, 2 shulker boxes of glass in 10 minutes. In here, I was just putting what I already built. So I already built the villager breeder, that was that tower, the farmer tower. I actually came back to this backup just to see my planning. Even though not all the towers are here, I came back after building those. So you can see that I've already marked the villager, the farmer tower, that would be the orange tower, and this one would be the redstone, but I haven't came back to here to put the green of the glass tower. And here in the farmer tower, you can see that what I said, I would have 22 villagers, 6 selling wheat and beetroot, and 16 selling potatoes and carrots. But that's all the backups I have. I'll try to find some screenshots. If I found any, I'll put them on the screen right now, so you'll be seeing a bit more about the process, as I wasn't able to find any backups that I only had the central tower, or only the central, and the portal tower. I was just able to find backups with 3 towers. So now that I've showed everything here, let's go to the nether, so I can go to the other places. I end up here, and you are probably a bit familiar with this area of the Wither Skeleton Farm. But I'll not be going to here right now. I'll actually go this way. So by the end of this tunnel, I have the portal to the desert, but there are a few more away. So let's start by those. So right here, I have my pillager outpost. I was using it recently as I was building the raid farm. So I'd be here to get bad omen. So just fly all the way up so that all mobs despawn, and then I would just come back so the pillagers would spawn first, and here you can see a lot of them spawn. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's nothing special in this outpost. If we go a portal, if you go to the next corridor, we'll end up in the raid farm. That's quite far away. And if we go to the portal, I'll end in this village. Still haven't used the raid farm yet, as this backup I made just before using it the first time. So if I ran into any problems, I would have the backup. But here you can already see that my FPS dropped to 9. And that's not really good. I'll just use the render distance and remove the internal shaders, as I don't know why, but internal shaders of Optifine with entities is just really laggy. Just turned off the volume of the villagers because yes, they are quite loud. But yes, this raid farm is a design by Razeworks, so it's not the best raid farm design at all. I plan on building a better one, but I built this just to get clay. There's nothing here. But yes, it won't produce a lot of raid items. I just want to get clay. So I added a switch. That is just a bit of redstone logic here. It locks this repeater that fires this entire thing. But yes, this zero tick go all the way to here and activate this dropper, and this observer will detect it as well. This dropper will activate a 40-minute clock, so it will dispense the item, and as each item takes 5 minutes to despawn, it'll take 40 minutes until the last item despawns. Once this happens, this dropper will activate, and I'll get a signal through here, all the way up to here. She push this block over again. I don't know why. Okay. I'll push this block again because if I kept this block here, I'd get multiple signals, and that's not what I wanted. This redstone is a bit messy, and it's quite hard to explain it with such a low FPS, so I'll try to go as fast as I can. So the system activates once the item comes through that hopper. This means that I already have the Hero to Village effect. The player will be here attacking, and then the villagers will try to throw clay at you. They won't be able because of the slab, so it will all fall down into that hopper, into that trapdoor, and the hopper minecart will collect. Then, when the items come through the hopper, it will be detected by the comparator and send a signal to start it all. And then, once it's over, you just push it back to the initial position again. Over here, when this observer detects the zero tech, it'll go all the way down, shoot this observer line, and push this piston over. What this piston will do is actually lock this clock, making so that the trapdoor will be closed, so it won't be going through any more raids while I'll have the Hero of the Village effect. So I'll be 40 minutes standing right here without going down and up to start raids. This will make so that I'll get as many gifts as I can from the villagers. There's a slight improvement that could be done. It would be to add a daylight sensor, so when it's night, I could unlock the trapdoor, as the villagers would not give me any gifts. So if you actually intend an AFK in here, the ideal would be to actually come back a couple of times, just so you can sleep, and then the farm would be like twice as efficient as you would get gifts all the time and not only half the time. And then the sword would just activate this observer and retract the piston once the time is over, and then the player will be able to cycle again. I still haven't used this farm, as I said. And by the way, there are 350 villagers here. Actually 352, I'm not sure. But they are all masons, so they will all give me clay as a gift. They are inside a vine, so they don't get anti-cramming damage. If I come back to here, and more recent backups, they'll be all aligned the middle, and that's because I used a trick here just to make them look a bit better. So if you get a piston, like so, with a trapdoor, and you push them, the trapdoor will align them. So let me just do that very quickly. So then here I did it on 3 sides, and you can see the villagers are centralized, and they will stay that way forever, just in the cylindrical shape. It's quite weird, but a bit better than that spread out. Just looks a bit cooler. Actually looks quite nice. But yes, that's it for this farm. I'll be using it in the next episode. Already have quite a lot of clay, as I'll be using this farm. So if I go back, the tunnel that I came from, it's quite hard to find Lytra and Creative, but here there's another portal. This one is not important, but it's worth showing, as here I have my squid farm. This is something that I built a really long time ago. It was one of the very first things I did once I converted the world into my single player, and is a design by Mango. It's a bit outdated in some things, and one thing here, that is the signs. So you would use the signs to prevent fish from spawning, but you don't actually need to do that anymore, as fish and squid now have a separate mob cap. So yes, it's a bit less work and a bit less wood. Building this farm is just a pain. It's a super tedious process to do that, but it's actually quite efficient, as I chose a location that basically have no rivers nearby, and I ended up with this huge dry river area. So here's where I got all my black dyes and ink sacs to make all the dark prismarine. No, dark prismarine is made with black dye, but before it was made of ink sacs. So yes, there is no other way. You can get from wither roses, but I just prefer the squid farm, as wither roses need to have a wither cage and things that can go a bit wrong. So here would be the AFK spot, and yes, that's pretty much it for the farm. There's just one more thing here. Yes, here you can see there are a lot of rails, and that's because I ended up duping the rails. It's not something that I'm proud, not something that I do anymore, but I had to use a lot of them, and I hadn't that many resources back in the time I built this farm. So I ended up duping the rails. We didn't do that now. Even without as many resources, I just try to get them. Yeah, as you can see, the unloading station of the minecarts. Minecarts just come here and get unloaded. There's one more thing here in this area, that is the drowned farm. So this drowned farm is rather simple. I use the fact that this area has basically no rivers around, and ended up building a drowned farm, as this place would be the optimal one. It'll be quite a nice one, and there's quite a big river here. So I would AFK right on top, so the drowns would spawn. They would fall down, and when they would, there used to be a turtle egg just behind the portal. It was probably destroyed by some chicken jockeys. No, that's not actually possible. I don't know what happened, but then they would come through the portal and they would end up here. Same thing here, they would be attracted to the turtle eggs and fall down. So then, after you AFK'd for some time in the overworld, you would come back to here and kill the drowns. And here there are a few drops, and that's how I got my tridents. I tried getting the tridents from killing drowns in the ocean, but that was pretty much impossible. So I had to build a farm, only use it once, got 3 tridents, and then have them all. There's not much of a point in using it. Now you can get copper with the drowns, but yes, this farm will definitely not be efficient for this purpose. This farm is just behind the portal of the squid farm. The squid farm portal is this one, and it's just there. Yes, going back to the tunnel, let's finally get into the desert. So here is my desert, where I get all my sand from. You can see that this area is a bit flat. I haven't removed the sand entirely from here, that's just for static purposes, but over here that's what I did, removed all the sand. I'm mining this area now, and most of the sand was actually I used to make TNT. As glass I would trade the villagers, so we didn't use sand to make glass. Never did this, I think. But yes, my mob farm is right there. I'll go there in a moment. But right here, there's this area that I'm using to get dirt right now. I'll get considerably bigger. As for example, in the next episode, I'll be using a lot of dirt, so I'll have to gather a bit more here. But going back to the desert, let me just show the mob farm. So this is a shifting floor design I got from Ilmango. They used in SciCraft, and it's simple to build and actually quite efficient. It's not a cheap, as you use a lot of observers and pistons, and a lot of trapdoors that are a bit annoying to place. I built it out of dark prismarine because that was the nicest block I had by the time I was building it, and it was actually quite easy for me to get it. So the way it works, it has a shifting floor. So the concept is that you push the blocks and the mobs will fall down. They will spawn in soul sand and dark prismarine. Then the blocks will be pushed. The ones that spawn soul sand will immediately fall. As soul sand's a bit lower, the dark prismarine will be they'll be inside dark prismarine when the blocks move, and they will fall down. The ones that spawn the dark prismarine will go to soul sand, and then the pistons will push again, and they'll go back to dark prismarine, falling down as well. I'll be showing a clip of the farm working right now, so you can see a bit better how it works, and it is actually quite efficient. It should produce 14,000 bones and 14,000 gunpowder. I don't really care about the rest. It should produce less. It produces just a bit of rotten flesh, as it is in a desert biome, and if there is no access to skylight. I'm not sure if it's direct or it needs to be with 0 skylight level. No, the husks won't spawn, and as husks are the priority of zombie spawning, I'll only get a few zombie spawns, which is quite good as I won't fill the mob cap with zombies. So here you can see that I only have a bit of rotten flesh in comparison to this wall here that I have a lot of bones, and that was probably filled a couple of times. Here just a few witch drops in the middle, and here the gunpowder, a lot of gunpowder, and here just the arrows that I didn't really care. Just behind the mob farm there is this nano crop farm that I was using just recently to get some items to the crop farms in the villager trading city, and to actually get some carrots to breed the villagers from the iron farm that will be going there in a moment, as well as the ones from the raid farm. But yes, this farm is quite simple. It's bio mango as well. So if I got, for example, some carrots, there's actually bone meal. You get it inside here and just place the items. The way it works is by this piston activating and deactivating. So when the piston is in the process of retracting or extending, it'll let light go through, so the plant will be able to grow, will be able to exist. But then once the light level is at 0, the plant cannot grow. The plant will be destroyed, so it is automatically destroyed, and then just have to right click. So over here, that's the last thing I have to show in this area, is my iron farm. This is actually relatively new. I just did this before the raid farm. So here there's a pillager. I had a few in my base that I showed earlier. This is Kurt. And then he'll be moving around here. There are no iron golems spawning because the way that villagers work now is a bit weird. So even though they're not loaded, they'll know if they slept in the day that you are. So I think that they need to stay 3 days without sleeping to not spawn iron golem. If I don't come here within 3 Minecraft days and let them sleep, every time that I come here, I'll have to wait until it's night so they can sleep and then start spawning iron golem. Let me just simulate this process by setting the time to night, so they will all sleep. And now I should get iron golems instantly, as you can see. I can even set to day as well, and iron golems will now spawn properly. This farm design is by Namban. It is quite efficient, but I plan on building a even better one. And you can now see that iron golems are dying, and you'll get a lot of those. So here there are just a few item filters, 3 for roses, so I have roses up to here, and the rest for iron. Didn't have that much iron here, and not that many roses, so I haven't used this farm a lot. And just to craft the choke boxes, I just craft the iron ingots into iron blocks, put them here, and once it is filled, I take them to my base, where I store all the iron blocks. So that's it for this area. So now I'll just go through a few backups, showing this place before the farm and the accident that happened. So I'm back on this. So this backup right here, I was just on the very beginning of the process of building the iron farm. I'm on day 4,430 almost. So it wasn't that far. It's actually quite close, if I remember correctly. There should be just a couple hundred days till the backup that I'm making the tour. Oh yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing special here, just the very beginning of the iron farm. By the way, I got all the villagers from this village right here. So if you see, I logged some villagers in this village, so there's one inside here. Yes, the cleric is there. There's another one here. At least there should be. Yes, there's a mason. And I think there are a few more. So it used them all as the villagers and the breeder part. So I just throw carrots to them, they would breed, make the babies, and I would send the babies to the farm. So this backup right here, this one is quite old. I'm still with diamond gear. Here you can see that this farm, I probably used a bit of time on this backup. As you can see, the arrows will probably be the most accurate measure of how much I used the farm. And yes, those witch drops as well. The rotten fleshy would be a bit as well. And bones, I should have a lot as well. I probably used a few, as I should have about the same quantity of arrows. And gunpowder, haven't used that many. So this is the last backup I have to show, and this one is a bit tragic. As you can see that there's nothing, but I'm 1.16 on day 4000 already, and what happened is that some chunks got deleted at some point that I don't know. If you look at my statistics, they'll be all resetted. As you can see, those are pretty much impossible numbers. I already showed that back in the server days, I had 14,000 nether bricks mined, and at this point I should have 800,000 stone mined. So the chunks got deleted, corrupted, and at some point when I was shown the drowned farm, might not have spotted, but there was a ruined portal right next to it, and that shouldn't happen because those chunks were generated in 1.15. So I think that I just noticed it when I was making the. I probably noticed when making a tour. So I was on the drowned farm, and I noticed that there was a ruined portal. I just noticed that that was a bit suspicious, and then I just probably wandered to the furthest chunks I have. And here it's quite far away from my base, and it was completely deleted. And this was a time that I cheated in this world. So I used Lightomatica. I just selected the area on the older backup. The idea would be to go back a few backups, but that's something that I thought by that time. This probably was, this already existed. This probably already existed for a really long time before I noticed it. So I cheated this time. If I go back to the backup that I was making the tour, we'll see that there are some trees that are cut off around this area. The dirt mining area, haven't started that yet, so that was not a problem. So here you can see the Lightomatica that I used of the area, and yes, I was right. The dirt mining area, I still haven't started making it, and here you can see the entire area, how it looked. So I had to cheat and I pasted it on this world that I'm in, not this one. I made a backup, then pasted it. So you can see that the mob farm is here. I still didn't have the iron farm, but yes, the entire area that I modified was inside the schematic. So that's what I did. I don't regret doing it, but yes, going back in time to all the backups would probably be the correct option, but that's what I did. And yes, I just want to talk about it. As I already said, the trees got a bit weird here, right behind the portal, and I'm trying to tell the entire history of this world. So now that I've showed all I had to of this area, just showing the trees here, you can see they are cut off in this very spot. There are some that naturally do this. You can see that the tree formation changed a bit as those chunks were generated in 1.14, and then they got deleted, and then they were 1.16 chunks, and tree placement changes probably every version. But now that I've showed this, let's move on and go back to the nether. So I think that now the best place to show is the wither skeleton farm and the actual perimeter here. And this, right now it is completed, the entire area. I ended up using a mod to show the despawn sphere, so that's why there are some places that are very precise. When I first started making this perimeter, I was just counting the blocks, so it's making 128 from the AFK spot, so you can see that it is a straight line, as this part is older. There is a really big part of this perimeter that is made out of stone slabs. Could change it all to quartz in the future, but the only thing that really makes me not want to do it as much is the fact that breaking stone slabs in survival is just painful. They cannot be insta-mined, so it's like mining endstone or deep slate. It's probably as fast as mining those, and I have probably around 30,000 stone slabs here, so that's a lot and a lot of time, but it's definitely something possible and that I am considering doing, as it is quite weird that I have a stone part, a quartz part, and parts just look better. But here you can see that in the end I ended up with a lot of nether bricks and a lot of netherite as well. This netherite is actually from the gold farm that I'll be going there in a moment. Here is the farm. It's not working properly right now. The design was by me, but it uses a very simple concept of the withers spawning on wither roses, as only them can spawn silos after 1.16. They would get attracted to the iron golems, fall down all the way. Over here there are some sea lanterns to prevent magma cubes or zombie piglins spawning inside the portals, and then they would fall down right here, get attracted to those other iron golems, and go to the overworld where I would kill them. This farm have a few problems. The first one being that it is not as efficient, as the wither skeletons spawn. Yet here they stay actually good amount of time jumping, trying to reach the iron golem that they first focused on, and then after some time they focus on those. And you can see the problem here, why it's not working. Portal linking I changed in 1.16.2 I think, and this portal, for example, no longer connects to the portal in the overworld. The other problem of this farm is that it needs to use 2 players, so I would use a second account here on the nether to spawn the withers, and then I would go with my main account to the overworld. Let's just go through here, and you can see that the withers contents would come in. I would turn this redstone lamp, all those pistons would activate, pushing all the wither skeletons to a single spot. Then I would just have to kill them here. So I'll just try to show the farm in action. I'll spawn a carpet bot here to simulate another account. So then I would enter through this portal. It's always a bit dangerous, as you end up together with all the wither skeletons. Never made a portal specifically for me. And now you can hear the sound is quite loud, but then a player would stay there and I would stay here killing the wither skeletons. So you just hit and they would all die. This farm I think produces more than 10 skulls per minute, so it is quite a good rate, but I'm not sure about the rate. It's been a long time since I used it, and I don't think I ever ran this test properly. So here should still have a few skulls, as you can see, but I used the majority of them to get the shulker box here. So now the sound should stop at some point, but yes, a shulker box of beacons, I know that's quite suspicious. Not many people do such thing, but it is not that expensive once you have a efficient enough wither skeleton farm. The most annoying part to get is not the skulls, but the glass and the obsidian. The obsidian I have from my obsidian farm. There are 2 obsidian farms that I had in this world. Both do not exist anymore, but then I had enough obsidian to craft the beacons. That would be 3 shulker boxes. But glass is a bit more complicated. You need 5. That's, you can see where I used a bit of my glass that I traded before updating to 1.15. But getting all those beacons require a double chest and 3 chests of skulls, which by itself seems like much, but by having a farm that produces 10 a minute. It's not that much. I had to build a wither killer that I'll be showing once I go to the end, because killing all those withers manually would be faster, but definitely not a fun process. By the way, I was almost forgetting, but in the statistics I have some numbers that can prove that I killed all the withers and I got all those resources. Not here. Here you can see full of the statistics. The beacons, if we go to times crafted, it should be 1,707, 1,830 beacons that I crafted. And if you go all the way down here, you'll see that I killed more than 110,000 wither skeletons. But that's pretty much it, so let's move on. So over this direction, that would be west. I have a few things to show. One of that being this blaze farm with a blaze spawner. There are no end rods. There are no blaze rods here. I just built it to get a few blaze rods to make some end rods to the villager trading city. Only use this farm once, and it's not that efficient. Designed by Nimban to use pathfinding, but it would probably be better for me to just use a couple of some pistons to funnel them down to a single spot. As sometimes they won't pathfind. If you see that one, yes, it's not pathfinding, but there are times they don't. And yes, and then you just stay here and kill them. It's a bit tricky. I think this was the spot. Probably using a sharpened sword. Yes, I'm using that one. The wither skeleton farmer would use a smite 5 sword that I have in my ender chest. But moving on, if I just grab those rockets, make the process a bit faster. If I follow those sea lanterns, I'll end up in the new area of the nether. I'll actually put on bright, just to make it a bit easier to visualize. I can go up there, that was the first way I took, but going down here it's much quicker. So right here is the new area that I have in the nether. There's a basalt altar right there. Here there's a micro warp forest, but if I go here, it is actually much bigger. So if I come all the way over here, I should end in a bigger area of the warped forest. And a fortress here as well. Didn't even remember that it existed. So right here you have this build that I did when I first updated to 116. It's very simple, it's not that good. I was just trying to experiment with the new blocks, as well as bartering. So here I have a bartering setup. It's almost a torture chamber. They are in a warp forest with fungus here. As those right here probably would run away. But the way it works is I need to grab a bit of gold. So I put the gold here. The hopper minecart takes all the gold. And when it's over, I can press this button and it will distribute the gold in all the droppers. And then when I press this button, it should start. And now once the items come through, it will dispense another ingot. But this is not really reliable because they could, for example, send 20 gravel or even more, and then this comparator would stay on until they send the next item, so no gold ingot would be dispensed. But that had to happen twice, but it was actually quite easy to happen, because you can see now he only have a gold ingot. There is no gold ingot in front of him. This one still has, but yeah, at some point he'll stop. So I got a few items from here. It seems like there are more on this side. Yes. So you can see that, not much, but a few items from bartering. I'll be making a better bartering setup, a much better one in a few episodes, but yes, this is what I have. Don't really use it, was just to test it out, get soul speed. But moving on, there's still a thing left here for me to show, and that thing is quite important. It's right over here. There's this hole, and here, as you can probably tell, is where I got all my netherite. So here you can see I had a choker box of TNT. Didn't even remember why I had it, but I did, and I ended up using it all here. So you might remember in the part 1 I was showing my storage, and there was a red choker box with a few fire resistance potions, but by the most part empty, and that's where I had all my TNT. I made some fire resistant potions to make this process a bit easier. But you can see the first hold I did. It's right here. Didn't even remember. I remembered I did one separately, and then I moved to another location. Didn't even know why. No, I actually do. Probably I thought there was way too much lava here, and I was probably right. It's quite lucky to change locations. And over here, there's just a basalt delta in pretty much all directions. So it's actually a good choice for me to move to another location. But here, you can see this area is quite big. I used a lot of TNT, and to get a lot of ancient debris to upgrade all my equipment to netherite. So you can see this tunnel stretches really far away, as well as this area over here. There's another one here that seems to go even further than the other ones, just a tiny bit further than that one, and there's another one that goes even further. But that's pretty much it. You can see the area is quite big, with a central tunnel and then some tunnels on the side. You can see this. Oh, this is not actually the main one, but that's quite confusing. Now I think I'm lost here. This might be the central one. No, it's right here. So if I go all the way over, I should end up in the place I entered, and yes. It's a bit confusing, but that's where I got all my netherite. So I'm back here in the wither skeleton farm because there are still a few things to just show in the nether. One of those being this area right here. There are quite a lot of things here. So let's start by here. So here's my garden farm. It is quite efficient. Chests are actually quite filled, but I would just use the prismarine shards. So you can see that a few chests have the prismarine shards, and the other ones are mostly filled by the other items. I even added another storage, a manual one here, just to store all the other items. So you can see I have a lot of cod here, as well as a lot of prismarine crystals that I got from AFK here, as I had to get a lot of dark prismarine. That I use right there, that I'll be going in a moment. But up here, you can go to the overworld and you can see the farm. It is quite a simple one. It's a design by Cortezarino, and the way it works is down here there are a lot of bubble columns, and you would AFK up there. Then the guardians would spawn, be flushed to the portals. And that does not work anymore because of portal linking. As you can see, this guardian is not going through the portal. But yes, this farm should produce 50,000 items an hour. I think that was the rate. It's quite decent to a farm that you don't even need to worry about draining the temple. But I should very likely build a better one in the future. So if I go up the AFK platform, you'll see I'm not able to go through the portal because of the portal linking, as I said, so they would just pile up there. You can see the amount, and the sound starts bugging a bit. They start attacking a squid, and all of them attack, and the sound gets pretty loud that you can hear from up here. But that's it for this guardian farm. So right on the side of the guardian farm, very close to the skeleton farm, I have my gold farm. That's much better than the one at the nether roof. So here you can see I used so much dark prismarine. I did this entire spot proofing with dark prismarine slabs. Just did it for the same reason that I built a mob farm with dark prismarine, because it was easy to get block, and it is different from stone. I'd be able to get a lot of those very quickly. So if you look here, I think times crafted should be enough. You can see that I have crafted 56 and I used 54. I'm not sure why. You can see that I mined, so I probably placed those as well. But I would say that's probably because of the stone cutter. This probably does not enter in the crafting category, otherwise it wouldn't make much sense. So there are about 60,000 dark prismarine slabs in this area. There are a few less because I used dark prismarine quite frequently on other builds, but here you can see that I had just spawn proofed the entire thing. I used the same mod to get a circular shape. That's something that I do regret a bit as well. I just did this project in the very beginning of the quarantine, just trying to find something that was quite time consuming that I probably wouldn't be able to do while having classes, so I decided to do this. Displaced a lot of dark prismarine slabs and build this gold farm. That is special because of this area right here. So I had to break all the bedrock to make the farm more efficient. If you know about mob spawning, this will make sense for you. If you don't, the mob spawning works. It is based on the maximum height. So spawning attempts will happen only below the highest block. So if the highest block is at 256, the spawn attempts will have a 1 in 256 of happening in a single layer. If you have 0 blocks, it should have a 100%, but that's impossible because you cannot have mob spawning at Y level 0, as there would be no blocks below them. And by removing this bedrock, it makes so that instead of maximum height being 128, it is 14. It'd be 15 actually, but you can see that now the spawning layers will be 2. So I have 2 layers. It'll be 2 in 128 or 1 in 64, and by removing the bedrock, I have 2 in 15 chance of the spawning attempts happening on the platforms, on the portals, so that's much quicker. This farm is quite efficient, but I'll be making it much better and removing the bedrock below here to make it even faster. It'll be quite fast and quite different as well. Quite way cooler than this one. I'll do that in 2 episodes, I think. But here you can see the idea. It's quite simple. The mobs will spawn inside the portals and be automatically teleported to the overworld. So let me just go through the portal, and here you can see how it is. They spawn here. They actually push themselves out of the portal and fall down on this area. So here there are a few wither roses to kill the magma cubes, and here some droppers to shoot the items in a water stream, and up into this elevator to the storage. I'll be showing a clip of the farm working right now so you can see how it is. It is quite efficient, but the newer version will be way more efficient than that. And here you can see this how the storage works. I have 3 slices of gold ingots, gold nuggets, for each side, so there are 3 there, 1 for gas tier on each side, and 1 of the rest for each side. Gold ingot should be empty, yes. I crafted it all. Gas tier should have a few, yes, just right here. Magma cubes as well, magma creams as well, and root flesh should be filled all the way, and the other side should be pretty much the same thing. Look here, there are actually quite a lot more gas tiers, don't know why, but magma creams, it's pretty much the same thing, and root flesh will be filled as well. But that's it for this farm, so let's move on with the tour. By the way, breaking this bedrock took me a week or even more, and a lot of TNT. It's quite a boring process to do. In order to try to prove that I did this legitimately, I will break the other one. As I said before, I'll break the lower level, which should still have 3. I ended up breaking 2 layers there. The first 2 that are, but I still have 3 layers to go that are way more dense and represents a way higher percentage of the bedrock. I think I used 2 shulker blocks of TNT, not even sure. If I look at the statistics, times crafted, and I find TNT, it should give me a good idea. So the times crafted is this one. I should have crafted 7,000, almost 8,000 TNT, as I use a shulker box on getting netherite, or maybe even more, I'm not sure about that. But then I'll be around 6,000, almost 7,000 TNT to the rest, and that would probably bake this area right here, breaking this bedrock, and 2 layers down below that. Oh yeah, but that's it for the farm, so let's move on. So there's this portal right here that is quite important, but I'll go there by the end of the video. It is actually super important, the portal, but if I go over this direction, I should end up in a soul sand valley at some point. It's a bit far away, so it should be there right now. And I'm here because I use this place to get some soul sand to spawn the withers, to get the shulker box of beacons. So here you can see that I moved quite a big area. You can use the soul soil. I got a few of those here to the skeleton farm as well, but a lot of soul sand I took out of here to get the withers. That's quite an annoying part. To get a shulker box of beacons, you need 4 shulker boxes of soul sand. So before I go to that portal, I'll show the rest of the world. So if I go back to the main portal, I'll have the tunnels to the places, to the locations. So over here, I have the slime farm that right now should be completed. That right now is completed. So if you look here, it's pretty much the same thing on top, but down below it is completed with all the portal layers. And down here in the collection area I should have a few slime balls. Yes, only a few. I probably crafted most into slime blocks and put them on my storage. So over this direction, on the direction of the industrial area portal, if I follow this other tunnel, I'll have a few locations that are not that important, but it's better for me to show them. So here I have the portal to the Mesa biome. I have 2 beacons there to get the terracotta a bit more efficiently. So here I have a few chests, but they are pretty much empty. When I started digging this out, at some point when I needed it, what I would do is I would buy pickaxes from the villagers. This one had a breaking 2, and then I would just put efficiency 5 and just use the pickaxe entirely. Wouldn't use mine, as I would have to mend the pickaxe. And here you can see I actually mined a pretty good amount of the terracotta here. It's just a bit annoying because my main priority is to get this one, as I can die of any other color. Right on the side, there is still another pathway here that you need to go, that you just need to follow. This path that's not really well marked, but then I have this portal that sent me to the gravelly mountains, where I got all my gravel basically to get all the concrete from the villager trading city. So you can see that this biome is pretty destroyed. There's not much gravel left. Actually there's a lot. There's this entire area, but this area right here, it's pretty much emptied out. And in the very end of the tunnel, there is this last portal that's really not that important. There is just a coral reef, so I end up here. There's a coral reef right here, where I got a few coral blocks like the fence. The fence are actually this one that you can use for TNT dupers. The sea pickles as well, and a few coral blocks as well. Even a bit cool, but it's not contextualized with the end theme or anything. It's just for fun. But I never take that pathway to the end. I always go through the portal and take the shortcut over here. I just fly with the elytra, and then I'm already in the middle of the tunnel, and I can just fly over till the end. And entering the portal, I end up in this stronghold. This stronghold here is quite messy. If I go to spectator, you'll see that we've explored quite a bit here. I didn't think we explored the entire thing. We entered through here in this dark oak forest. If I go back down, you can see that we've destroyed this library. But I think we explored pretty much the entire thing, even though it's really not worth exploring. We actually find this other library. The loot here in the stronghold is not good. You might find some enchanted books here, but once you have the villagers, it's pretty hard to find something truly good in those chests. But coming back to the portal here, you can see that there are a lot of blocks around it, and that's because I tried to farm obsidian. I actually succeeded after many attempts, and I did it twice. So I'll just try to explain a bit why it's all like that. I actually made 2 obsidian farms, so the first attempt with the first farm was to put the bed here, and those 2 blocks. So let me just grab the bed, and then you would just walk to the portal. I don't know why we changed it. It actually worked, but then I think that we just placed the bed here, so you would spawn inside the portal, and then as we were in the server, someone could rescue us out. But then I came up with this, so you spawn right here in the portal and just go, and the water will push you, and you'll just go to the end, so you have a bit of time to get out, so you didn't get stuck at the end. There is a beacon here as well for the second obsidian farm, as I was using ender pearls. Once you start starving and taking damage from the ender pearls, you need regeneration in the entire thing, so only in the end was not enough. You had to use this boot as well to take a bit of the damage with the feather falling. But that's pretty much it for this area. Here you can see where we probably placed the bed. So the bed was probably here, so it would spawn directly on the end. But going through the portal, you'll land in the obsidian platform. There you can see the reminiscence of my obsidian farming. So there are a lot of boats. I was just trying to fix the wither cage, as the wither would escape sometimes. Didn't even remember what I did. And the first time, the second one I actually do. But I just added more boats, trying to prevent it from escaping. The first attempt, there was nothing here. He would just be trapped inside here, and as he was inside the hitbox of the trapdoor, the skulls would blow up inside him. And then there was a pressure plate right in this block, and a dispenser right here with a hopper facing to it, full of snowballs. There was a snow golem here as well, that's why there is this room, so we could get the snowballs a bit faster. There's a shovel here as well, just to get the snowballs, and a few end stones. The second design was using ender pearls, so instead of walking all the way to the portal, like in the first one, it was actually a speed tube beacon right over here, to make the entire process a bit faster, but then I moved all the beacons to there. But I'll get to the portal in a moment. But then the other one, you would have a station, uh, ender pearl station on the very end. So you would just throw an ender pearl, you'd just be looking up, throw an ender pearl to teleport there, so you wouldn't have to walk all the way. And then there is a snow golem here that would shoot snowballs at the wither, so it would break the obsidian. And it was necessary for him not to escape, as some things changed with the wither cages. They always change. It's not really a reliable way. Most updates end up breaking wither cages. But down here I still have some obsidian. If you look at the chest, just a bit. I'll have to make another obsidian farm. Probably do a better one. That's now it's totally possible. With this platform, you can just throw items through the portal and it will regenerate the platform. You didn't actually need the player anymore. So, right in the portal, after this pathway here, I have the Wither Killer down here. So the design was by FastJazz, and it is quite a nice one, but it's not as fast as you can only spawn a Wither at once. So the way it works is I place the soul soil or the soul sand here, press the button, then you can already place it. I think it'll dispense it after, I'm not sure if it dispenses it right now. But then the wither will spawn. There are minecarts here to so the wither takes entity cramming damage, and I added this iron golem to make the process a bit faster as well. So here you see, another wither will spawn. The system detects when a nether star comes through that hopper. So there's the storage for the nether stars over that chest. Right here, and then it detects and activates the whole thing again. As I had this iron golem, I had to put some regen potions here, as it would take damage over time with the wither explosions when spawning. So I added those 2 clocks here to dispense the regen potions quite far away from each other, so I can basically take the maximum out of those. It doesn't take that long for a wither to be killed, but as you can only spawn one, you can kill the wither super fast, but you will always have the problem of the spawning, so it takes quite a long time for the wither to properly spawn, and for the wither to be able to take damage, so even if you kill it very fast, you'll still have to deal with that problem, but if you spawn multiple withers at a time, you won't have to deal with it. So, something that you may have noticed is that I have all the gateways, but if you look in my statistics, you'll see that I killed Ender Dragon only 19 times, and that's probably because when we killed the first one, it was in the server, and I was probably not the person to do so, but then I got all the gateways after I was already in single player. It's not that useful. For example, if I go through this gateway over here, I'll end right here, but then if I go just a bit over this direction, I'll already find the other gateway right there, so you can see they are quite close to each other. So if you get 4 gateways that are they are far away from each other, it's probably the ideal. You don't need a 20, as it is really not that good. You can see I ended up right on the side of the one I entered, so it's really not that useful. But as I got all the 19 others when I was in single player, this one was the one that we used in the server days. So here you can see there are a few blocks. It was quite a confusing thing to be in the end. As I said, the render distance was really low. So what would happen is that we would see very little. I think that once we were here, not sure, we probably could see the island, but just a piece of it, not the entire thing definitely. And we could not see anything else surrounding us, so we had to go pretty much blind in this journey. And then you can see that we made a bridge here, and we were actually able to find the island. And from here, we just moved on, and there's already an end city there. I think that before I raided some end cities with my brother, we only found one or two where we got the elytra. As we couldn't use, we didn't explore it that much. Just look here, chests are empty, the elytra is missing. Even the dragon head. Not sure to where we explored after, but yes, this was the first one definitely. So right here you can see there's a bit of water, and down, if I go down, I have Enderman Farm. So this Enderman Farm, it's designed by Ilmango. I think it's quite old, it's probably from 1.12, as it is using the subject mechanic, spawn mechanic, that is no longer valid in the game. So it's now the spawn mechanics now are now by blocks. So actually making a farm like the Ender Mini from Nemban, it's way better than this one, as this platform is at Y15, and making the platform as low as possible is the ideal, and in the end that's quite an easy task. So the Enderman would spawn faster, but this one is enough. Enderman spawn quite fast if you look at, as it is already quite low in the world. I had a sword here, but while trying to record a tour, I actually accidentally ended up breaking it, but it was a diamond sword with sweeping edge 3, sharpness 5, and breaking 3 and mending to use in the farm, as it does not have looting. If I use looting here, I'll end up with a excess of ender pearls. Here I have a diamond armor that I created. I'm not sure, but I used till they fixed the mending mechanic, as before 1.16 or 1.15 would be the XP would try to repair all your pieces with mending, and then it would select one, even though those were already repaired. The XP would be divided equally to all. So I would get basically a fifth of the XP if I was using my armor to the pickaxe. So using that armor that does not have mending, I'd get 5, it'd be 5 times faster. Now there are a few items here from the time we were building this farm. And there's a beacon as well. We had a lot of beacons in the server, and we didn't had many places to put them, so we just added beacons to some random places like this one. Just added regeneration 1, resistance 1, and strength 2 to make the farm just a bit better. There are a lot of anvils here, and that's because when I was getting my god armor, I actually came to here, as this is my XP farm in this world, and then I had to grab a lot of anvils to create all the god armor pieces, as it is quite expensive and you need a lot of enchantments. So that was all for the end. So let's go back. So let's go to this last portal. So arriving here, it seems pretty much that I did nothing here. You can only see some trees that I removed some leaves right there, some stone blocks and a few chests over here. If you look, there are just a few items here, but the important part of it is actually down here. So if I go down here, I'll see that I have a giant strip mining area that if I go all the way to the end, you'll see that it is quite big. It is 800 blocks long. And we are arriving, and here's the end. So now that I have night vision on, I'll just go to the beginning, pretty much the beginning actually. I'll need to go to the very corner of it, and I'll try to go to the other corner. So I mined this area just to get diamonds. Not that I'll use them, just for just because it would be a interesting project to do. So I mined a total of 3 areas of 400 blocks by 1000 blocks. So that's why this area is so big. It took me a bit of time to get to this corner. So if I go over here, you'll see that it looks quite good. To see in spectator, uh, unfortunately in survival that it's not as good as viewing in spectators. Actually, pretty boring to see it in survival. Here you can see some beacon holes, as I placed beacons every 101 blocks. So here's another one, and another one over here. So I'd place a pattern of beacons covering all this area. That's why I said I mined 3 areas of 1000 by 400 blocks, because that's how I did it. Didn't place the beacons in the entire thing. And then I would use haste 2 and speed 2. So if you look here, it is quite insane how it is. A stupid decision that I made, in my opinion at least, was to go to Y level 10. So I was looking at the wiki, and the graphics show that should be slightly more diamonds at Y level 10, but then it makes the entire process much slower, as I had to deal with lava ponds like this that I would have to get up to go through it, and I would end up seeing more of those. So if I go down here, actually, this is actually a horrible place to show that. So you see this one, there's very likely lava here, and then I had to cover those. But moving on here, I'll just go like that, trying to turn the camera to show pretty much the entire thing. It's a bit hard, but I think I can make it. I even got some emeralds here, by the way, as there is a mountain biome here. So if you see, it's not the biggest one, but is able to get a few stack of emerald ores. So here we are on the main corridor, and then here I think it'll be easier for me to just try to get this diagonal right, which is very hard. But here you can see that on the very beginning I was mining at Y level 11. So I calculated a bit how much I would have to mine, but I got it wrong by 50%. And yes, so it was not as precise. Once I was trying to make this water in the past, I actually got roughly the amount of hours I spent making this project, and I got to 100 hours. So it's not truly precise. I just got the time played in the world and some backups. But here you can see how insane this looks, and I think it looks really great. It's just a shame that I can't properly see it. So if you look this area, it looks, in my opinion, it looks amazing. Something that really slowed me down was going through some mine shafts, but it was actually good, as I got the 3 golden apples, enchanted golden apples from this process. I think there was one in a temple up here, but I got 2 in mine shafts, so that was pretty nice. But going through those mine shafts is just really time consuming, as those are quite big. But here we approached the very end, and this is the middle, so you can see this is the end of a 400 by 1000 area. But if I go all the way to the very corner, the closest corner to the beginning, I'll end up very close to gold farm. So this is the mountain where I have the portal, and right here I have the actual gold farm, the overworld side of the gold farm. On the top here, you'll be able to see that there should be a few beacon holes. So there is one right here, and then 100 blocks. You'll see another one every time. But then let me just show the last third of the mining, and would be this one right here. Sometimes it's quite hard to show the entire thing, as I get many caves like this area right here, And there is the ocean here, so this is certainly the hardest one to show, as there is ocean in a good part of it. So, but now I think it might get a bit better to show. So yes, here I have uh, a, a clear area basically, but I'll just go to the middle. You can see that I've dug out some holes. I did so because mobs would try to attack me, so then they would just fall in those holes and wouldn't get into this main corridor. You can see there are actually quite a few zombies here. So there is a storage here in the middle, and if you look here, you'll see that I actually got quite a few resources, a lot of granite, a lot of andesite, some diorite, and a lot of redstone. If I go back to the beginning, I have another storage that I made it a bit bigger once I started mining this area. That was not intended. I was only going to mine this 800 block long corridor until the end of the 1000 blocks. So then here I have the storage. Those chests are by the most part empty. There are just a few things here. But yes, here you can see the emeralds that I got. Some gold. Some coal as well. So this storage have all the items of this area here, as well as the other one there. So it has 2/3 of the resources. Here I have some lapis, and some iron as well. Here some granite, some shulker boxes as well, a lot of andesite, shulker boxes as well, diorite, same thing. And here a lot of redstone. This wall is not complete, so it's not all that much. If you see, there's only redstone up to here. So, but I showed it all, but you might be wondering why I did it, and it was to get this shulker box of diamond blocks. So I know it is suspicious, but that's why I showed this entire area first. I still have the statistics here, so if you see, mined 800,000 stone, 55,000 redstone ores, which is a bit less than what I have, as I used fortune in some. Got a bit of redstone, some andesite, diorite, granite, a lot of iron blocks for the beacons, as I didn't even have the wither skeleton farm when I did this, so I had to get all the beacons by hand. So I got 80 beacons, which would be enough to make a third of it. So then I had to destroy and move it to the next. This last area right here, I actually took some time to destroy it. I waited until I got netherite pickaxes, as I did this in 1.15. I started doing it in 1.15, but when I was done, 1.16 was already out. So I actually took some time. I got all the diamond ores, which were about 2 double chests of diamond ores, and I waited a bit to destroy them after I got netherite pickaxes, as well as to destroy these beacons, as it would be a bit faster with netherite. But going back to the statistics here, there for me to scroll, you see that I mined 14,000 diamonds, but that would be double the amount of diamonds I actually mined, about that, as I used silk touch and then fortune. So here you can see a bit of gold and a bit of iron as well, but that's pretty much it of the statistics for this area. So by the time I'm recording it, I actually did this again, this time actually recording the entire thing. But when I did this, I wasn't even thinking about recording the video. It was in the middle of 2020. I was just bored and I just wanted to do something that wouldn't require me to think. I wasn't feeling really inspired to play at that time. So I just ended up making this project that took me about a month. I was actually inspired to do that after I watched its calls video and getting 2000 diamonds in a single episode, so I thought I could do better, and I set the goal to get a shulker box of diamond blocks. That was a lot of work, but as I said, it is suspicious. I didn't expect you to believe, but I want to show this. But I need to show this area. I had no other option. But now that I show this, I think it's time for me to go through some backups that I have. So, this backup that I'm in right now, it is a creative copy of the world. I was just testing out the position of the beacons. So I was just calculating the blocks precisely and seeing where I would need to put them. And here you can see the 400 blocks. I actually went all the way to the end, but that was a bit after, I think. Once I started mining the second area, I'm not sure if I did this in one go. But if I go below here, you'll see there's not even the corridor, so that was before I started. I calculated it minimally to see how much I would need to mine, and yes, as I said, I got the number wrong by 50%, so I had to mine this other area, but I was just unrealistic with the amount of diamonds I would be able to get. By the way, mining this entire area was not enough to get all the diamonds I needed. I didn't think it even filled the 2 double chests that I wanted, and even if you get a 2 double chest, you still need a bit more to get the shulker box diamond blocks. So I had to mine near my base, those strip mining areas, but I'll show that again in a moment. I'll just go all the way to the end, and you can see here that I just placed the beacons at the very top, but once I was in survival, I had to place the beacons at by level 50, it would be about here. I'd place the beacons, as the effects would be able to get all the way down to me, because I think that it goes 50 blocks down, but it goes all the way up, so placing beacons down below is the best you can do. But it is quite annoying as well, as digging the holes to put the beacons was actually quite a boring process, and it would be just much better if I could place the beacons on top of the terrain like that, but that's not possible, so I had to do it I had to dig the holes, and after dig all the beacon, which was definitely not a cool thing. So here you can see the last one to be the end of the 1000 blocks, and the end of its backup as well. So this backup right here, I think was just on the beginning of the process, and I was testing how many diamonds I'd get. I think I got to 2.5, but the actual number is 2.2 diamonds per hour with Fortune 3. This back I probably made once I had a bit of progress, so here you can see I was already here. Let me just get some night vision to show it a bit better. And yes, there is nothing truly special here. I think I was still mining at Y level 11, and yes, that was the case. It might have been right here when I changed, so you can see that I mined the corridor all the way to the end. I actually think that is only the end of the 400 blocks. Yes, it is. So it's not actually all the way to the end because I didn't have any haste. But here you can see the beacons. Once they were finally placed, it took me quite a long time. And yes, it was the most boring part in my opinion, as you basically have no reward of doing that. While once you are strip mining, you get diamond ores that are and will be forever satisfying to get. So here you can see all the beacons. It'll be a total of 80 beacons, as there are 10 by 4 times 2, that would be 80 beacons. That's what I got. That was pretty much all the beacons I had by the time, and I used them all here. Here you can see the entire area with beacons. It looks quite great, especially here. I think I can load that corner one. Yes. So there are 16 beans here on the screen right now, and it's quite crazy, and I think it looks great. It really looks once you look up to the sky and to the terrain below as well. Looks quite nice. So this backup here, I'm actually, by the time I was making it, I would make way more backups than I do today, and that was one of the reasons I had to delete all of those. I had way too many backups, but here you can see there are still a few blocks here, but that was freshly mined once I made this backup. To see how it looked and creative, and I think it ruins a bit. It might have been better to just look once I was done, as I'd have the full result, while here I didn't even complete the first area. Something that I forgot to show in the other one, but in the very beginning I have the old storage, and there should be a few diamonds here. That should be about more than, no, so it's about a choker box of diamond ores, and yes, a bit of the other ores as well. There's a lot of granite, diorite, and here should be the redstone. Let's see the statistics. So I only mined 228,000 stone. Redstone was at 14,000. Yes, diamonds at 3,778, which is quite close to a shulker box. The iron blocks still wasn't that high, as I haven't mined the beacons. I haven't started mining the beacons here already, and just a bit of lapis. Actually mining on this water and this Y level, you get as many lapis as diamonds, so that's quite, that was not something I expected. So this is actually the last backup I have. I thought I had a few more, but apparently I don't. This one I did when I was finished with the project, so here it should be about the same thing as I showed. Yes, pretty much the same thing, but here I should have the diamonds. It's someplace, or maybe not, or they're actually here. So you can see that I actually got all the diamonds that I wanted. This was for the iron blocks, but I should have a few more diamonds that and I probably got a few more than the 2 double chests, so I probably store them at home. But yes, apart from that, the statistics are a bit lower, because those stone I actually mined a lot to make this movestone farm. And here you can see that the diamond blocks, the iron blocks, are still at 17,000. That's because I still had those beacons here. If you look, there should be one more row here. If the word would load, which didn't seem to be the case. Yes, here it is. And yes, this area is a bit more interesting than the other one. The desert, as there's a jungle here, there are some mountains, but that's pretty much it. Should be very close to the end right now. Yes, the end's right here. No, it actually isn't. Thought it was. So it's a bit more into the jungle. Yes, but this should be it. Yes, it is the last beacon. So I said that I got all the diamonds from mining that area, but that's probably not the case. So I remember that I probably already strip mined here, so I went to look and back home to see if that's what happened, and it was. So I mined here until I completed the choke boxes, and I probably got a few more. Should have a bit more than a stack in my storage. Yes, but it won't be enough. So I think I did the tower with the diamond doors, mined it all down, and then I noticed that that wasn't enough, so I had to mine this area as well after I mined the diamonds, which was a bit anticlimactic, but yes, I wanted to leave at least a stack of diamond ores in my storage, so there should be a stack in 40 or something. Yes, here it is. I'm not sure if I got all those diamonds or those as well, but those are not enough to make the project. So that is it for this world, but Now that I showed everything, I want to show some screenshots that I have that are actually quite many, and that hopefully will help explain the entire thing a bit better. So let's go to that. So now I'll show some screenshots that hopefully will make easier for me to explain a bit more about the process of this world and about its history. So this first one, I'm here with my friend. This was probably the first day I entered the server. By the way, many of those screenshots that I have were taken by accident, but I didn't really delete those, so I have a bunch of pretty random ones. But here you can see I'm in the Nether. The portal is right here. The Nether fortress would be just over there. And here you can see that the render distance is quite low. So I can only see a few chunks ahead of me, but not much, so probably on 3 chunks. This next one was probably not in the same day, as I already have diamond gear, so you can see I have a sword and an axe, full armor as well. And here you can see the houses. Once I entered, both houses already existed. I'm not sure about the portal, but it probably did as well. This one was actually a long time after the last one, as here I was trying to transport the turtles with a friend to the base. As I said, it didn't work, so you had to breed the turtles, get eggs, and put them there so they would hatch, and then those turtles would be able to hatch their eggs there. This one I took not when I was done building the gold farm, but when I noticed that it was off-centered, the size much wider than the other one. This one was probably on the end raid I did with my brother. I found the choker with multiple bullets inside it. That was quite weird. This one is the gold farm again, but this time centered. Here you can see another fortress with a bunch of wither skeletons and some slabs on my hotbar, so it is spawn proof in the area, already with quartz slabs as you can see, and the results were already quite good. I took this because I thought this was quite a huge amount of wither skeletons that spawned at once. Here's when we finished digging the slime farm. Here I was placing torches using a texture to see where mobs would spawn. This was when I was trying to spawn proof the spawn chunk. Here I was showing it to a friend, and here you can see the render distance is a bit higher, and that's because once I loaded some areas, it would stay loaded unless I unloaded completely those areas by going too far or to another dimension. I would be able to see that. I think it was based on my render distance, so it would make it possible for me to sometimes have a wider view of the world. Here is on a creative backup that I did, that I showed in the beginning of the tour, not the first one, the second. A view from above at night, and you can clearly see the spawn chunks. Here is when I finished building this area that still exists. Here, this is a bit of a random one, but it was on a creative backup trying to figure out where to build a squid farm. So here you can see I was placing diamond blocks where it was a river biome. So I had to use the F2 screen and see it block by block, so it would place a diamond block if it was a river biome, and it wouldn't if it wasn't. So I'd have the area, and I would try to find where to build a farm. Here is the house. When I was done with the first floor, I was already moving to the second one. Here's the house again, a bit more complete now, with all the floors, but you can see that the towers look completely different. The terrain of the house is completely different as well. It was just a normal mountain, after some time I changed it to a custom one. Here was on a garden monument, and this is probably my guardian farm. So it's killing the elder guardians to be able to make the guardian farm. Here I was digging out the area for the squid farm. Here I was still working in the house, So you can see it took me quite a long time to do that. So it was a process that probably took me a month or so to get it finally finished in creative, and then I had to build it in survival, but in the meantime I was already gathering the resources I would have to use in survival to build a house. So I started making a tree farm, garden farm, squid farm that would allow me to get dark prismarine. The tree farm is quite obvious, and then stone I already had. So I built a mob farm as well to get some bone meal to be able to run the tree farm. Here's another one. Now I added a bit of texturing to this hill. It was not my initial plan to transform the entire area, but that's what ended up happening. On the back there, you can see there are some towers. Those that I said are quite frequent, of people that would just pillar up to kill themselves and respawn back in the base. If you weren't there, you couldn't even see where the base was. On this screenshot, I was putting the schematic of the mob farm, and here you can see some resources. I was taking screenshots to see how much I would need of each. So you can see there's a lot of trapdoors, so the tree farm really helped out with that. There's also quite a few observers in this. By the way, this is not a complete list. This is the majority of the items. You can see that the bar here is about half, but the other half, the quantities are much smaller. Here I was building the collection system with the minecarts. Here it's probably done building the house, the exterior, probably not interior, but here you can already see I was using cyan terracotta and the grey concrete powder. Already built some trees, was using the leaf texture now. Here is the mob farm complete. Here's just a random screenshot I took. Once I went to this place to get some dirt, some puzzle, and some coarse dirt to build some terrain for the forest in my base. But then I just turned on some shaders, and I just thought this looked beautiful. So I just took the screenshot. This one is probably one of my favorite screenshots of the world. So this is the path from the village to my house. And you can see the forest here looks quite complete. Apart from some spots here, for example here on the side, or maybe here on the leaf, that it's possible to notice that this area is not complete. Over here, I was probably changing the tree on the side of the house, as I was not truly happy with the first one. Here I was trying to see what block to use on top here. Ended up with the orange one. I had a few more as I was trying to see what looked better, but I ended up using orange. Here in the side you can already see that it had all the terrain for the trees, pretty much how it still is. Here I was done building houses. I was still in 1.14, around a 2200. You can still see that, as I said, I only built a garden in 1.16, so I still had wheat field here. This one I was in 1.15, so the obsidian farm that I had ended up breaking, so I ended up building a new one. And to do so, I had to get a potion of the Turtle Master, so I had to get some scouts, which is quite a boring process, so I had to wait for those eggs to hatch, and then use some seagrass to make the baby turtles grow a bit faster. In this screenshot here, I have the gold farm working. As you can see, it was still in 1.15, as it is still the zombie pigman, not the zombified piglin. Here, the slime farm is finished. Not sure if this is right when I finished it, or a random screenshot I took. Here, I was building the main tower of the villager trading city. On the side here, you can see the first prototype that was not looking good, and this one was already the second and the final version as well. Here, just a screenshot where it's possible to see pretty much everything. So you can see the house, the trees, the iron farm, the village, the houses over here, the portal, the mountain with the torches, pretty much everything. Here I was building the portal tower in survival. This one I was planning the farm the farmer's building in creative, so I took the screenshot, mirrored it to repeat the same pattern on the other side of the building. Here I was placing the beacons for the diamond mining area. Here I was placing some beacons as well, as you can see from my Y level. So I would dig down until I was at Y level 52 and place the beacon. Right here I was already mining. I'm on day 3052 in 1.15, as I said. 1.16 was launched. Just before I was done with this project, I was already mining at Y level 10 here, so it was not on the very beginning. This one, you can see that some time has passed, about 120 days. Not much though, but quite a few hours as I didn't sleep. Every day would have 20 minutes instead of 10, which would be how long it would take if you sleep. This one is when I was done. So I built diamond pile, and it stayed here for some time, as I only mined it once I got netherite. You can see here that I used some hoppers and some chests to get all the diamonds that would fall out, so I wouldn't lose any, as losing diamonds here was not an option. This next one, I revamped the portal with the new 1.16 blocks, and it just looks so much better than the old one. This is the area where I would get quartz dirt, puzzle, and dirt. Once I took that screenshot of shaders, it was not as destroyed as in this one. This is a screenshot that I really like as well. The sunset behind the trees with the houses, with my house on the side. I think it looks really great, but the landscape is not complete here. It's a bit of a shame, as the screenshot is really good. This is when I got soul speed 3 on my netherite boots, as it was god armor, and to get the god armor you needed to combine books in a specific order in order to not make too expensive, so I thought it wouldn't be possible for me to add soul speed, but it was actually possible, and I was quite surprised with that. Here I was probably planning out the terrain for this tower as well as the mountain in creative, so you can see there's still a bit of terrain missing here, and if I zoom in you'll see that I still wasn't done making the second peak here. This one is a screenshot of my gold farm. It was not taken when I finished building it, but a long time after, and just because I thought it looked like a wild forest without trees. This one is just a screenshot of my house with BSL shaders. This is the mountain. I'm using nostalgia shaders here. I took this in creative, and here you can see that I was using snow blocks, or that sand terracotta and grey concrete powder. There wasn't even trees on this upper layer here. Here I was building the mountains in survival, and I was going to sleep, but then I noticed that this view looked quite amazing, so I took a screenshot. This one I'm using nostalgia shaders as well, and you can see that I have only 4 towers here, and I still haven't changed the base of any of the first 3. On this screenshot I was transporting the bees to a better place for me to breed them and put them inside the hives. Here I was starting to plan the new section of the village or the city, and here you can see I was in creative trying to figure out the pathways, and this is the very middle. I was trying to make this thing, but then I ended up making a fountain, the fountain that exists today. Here is my house with Soldier's vibrant shader at night. Here's the terrain once I was done building it in creative. I was quite proud of it, as it was quite different from anything I ever attempted at terraforming. I think it actually fits the tower quite well, as the tower the most different from all of the other ones. Here I'm at the honey farm, but I didn't think that I took this when I built the farm, as I have a stack of honey blocks, and before having this farm it would be nearly impossible for me to get any honey. I remember trying to get some honey to the wither skeleton farm, and it took me quite a bit of time just to get a honey block. as I only had 3 hives, which, as you may imagine, don't produce a lot of honey. Here I was changing the base of the main tower of the villager trading city, so here you can see some blocks of the schematic that I was using. As I build it all in creative first, then I would make a giant schematic of the entire thing and build it all in survival, as it would be easier for me to change things if I wasn't happy with the result. Here, I was building the redstone tower in survival. You can see some schematic blocks on the top here. And as I wasn't done building the roof, the displays looked a lot brighter than it does now, and actually much cooler in my opinion. This one, I'm using nostalgia shaders again. You can see that I now have 5 towers, and the base of the main tower was already using grass and dirt instead of terracotta. And I changed a bit of the shape of it as well, to make it a bit more natural, and it just looks much better than this shoe here. This screenshot is when I was in the very beginning of the new section. Not really in the very beginning, as now I only have 2 more houses that are right here. But you can see here, I was actually building it straight up in survival, which is much more fun than building it first in creative, and much faster as well. And for me, it's much easier to build a house than in terrain. So those houses, I think only the first one I did build in creative first, but those other 2 I did it straight up in survival, and I'm really happy with the result of both. So if you look on this one, nostalgia shaders again, I just love the screenshot. I think it looks great. It's a bit sad that I can't have this view again, as there are houses here, so we didn't be able to get a full view of those 2 that I truly love. This screenshot I took once I was done getting all the nether stars, so I'm on the wither killer, and this is the output chest. Here is a screenshot that I took, then I used paint to try to plan out the terrain a bit, what I'll be building in the next episode. It won't look anything like this. Here's a screenshot that is the middle of the process of editing, as I got the piece where I have the pickaxe, the shovel, and just pasted it close to the lectern. Should be easier for me to see it. And this is when I got all the enchantments, so I had to break almost 2,000 lecterns in order to get all the enchantments from the villagers. This screenshot I took when I was destroying the storage from the stone farm, as I was upgrading it to this movestone one. I just took it because there were many entities on the ground, as all those chests were filled with items. This one I was in creative, trying to make the villager gift farm, so I just took it because there were many villagers here. I don't know why, but the eyes were not appearing, so it was quite weird. You can see here a bit of the system I was trying to make, so I could put the villagers from here into the same spot without all the other ones getting out. Here I was building the iron farm. Apparently this villager fell out, or it was a baby. Though I think it was a baby. Yes, it definitely was. So I ended up taking a baby by accident. And here on the side you can see the breeder. So I would throw some carrots that I got from my nano crop farm, so they would breed, and the babies at night would try to pathfind to the beds over here and fall down into this hole, where I would get them with a minecart and send them to the cells. So here is a photo of Kurt, which is the pillager in the iron farm. His crossbow was already removed a long time ago, so I just had to take him from my base all the way to the iron farm. This screenshot I was destroying the old iron farm, as the new one was already built. This is a screenshot of the base I was planning on building on that hole underneath the tree. This screenshot is actually quite old, but the plan was to make it an underground base, so there would be corridors all the way in all 4 sides, and from there rooms with different functions. This is a bit of a sneak peek of what is to come. So as I said, I'm already quite ahead in time compared to this backup that I made the water. As I said, it's about a year old now. And here is what my world looks like. Not even right now, this is a bit old as well. But this is how it looks like, so you can see the terrain here. As I said, I'll start building it in the next episode. Not this entire thing, but a good part of it. And you can see it looks completely different and, in my opinion, much better. I just try to reproduce the conditions of the screenshot, with the sunset in the middle of the trees. It's not perfect. I still prefer the other one, but I just want to make it with the new terrain on the side. And here is just here I have the last screenshot of the villager trading city at night with BSL shaders. I think it really looks good. BSL shaders in this place. It's probably the best one as the end rods look super bright. So that was it for the tour. It took me like 3 years to edit this video, but it's now 2024. It's 1 a.m. and I just finished editing the second part that is almost 3 hours long. So if you made this far, like, really thank you. It is not the best video. It is quite boring in some parts, but I decided to keep it, even if it was a 3-year-old recording. Didn't wanted to make it again because I had some perspectives then that are quite different from now, and like editing it and watching it, I remembered a lot of things that I simply forgotten with time. But just wanted to finish this video because for some reason when I recorded the tour I didn't finish it at all, so I had to do it now. I'm actually already recorded a lot of episodes. I'm in the process of recording the 19th one, which I'm building the biggest thing I've ever done in Minecraft, and it's taking me several months, but I'm yet to edit any of those. I wanted to get this world tour done before, which is reasonable, but it was a 3-hour long, and in the process of editing it I realized I hate editing videos, but hopefully with other videos that are shorter it isn't as much of an issue. That is pretty much it. In this meantime, I was able to do quite a few things in this world. Not as many as I would like. Many things have changed in my life, like I moved to another city to study, so I have a lot of time to play Minecraft. I actually play more other games now than I did back then. But still, this is something that I always return to, always playing. So really, thank you if you watched this far. This world means a lot to me. It is 4 years old now, so it is a part of me. Like, I've spent a quarter of my life playing this thing. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.